The illusion of my perfect retirement didn't end with a shout. It ended with a pocket-dialed voicemail. I sat in my Demoted condo, stomach churning, listening to my 23-year-old fiancée, Marife, laughing with her Aunt Belen. She didn't use my name. She just called me the ATM. I heard her say, clear as day, just 2 more months until the interview, then I get the visa and we can ghost him in Chicago. That recording was the brutal reality check that cost me $12,000. I had come here at 62 to escape the corporate grind, thinking I'd found a shy provincial angel who loved me, not my pension. But the moment we started the K-1 visa process, the sweet shop girl vanished. Suddenly, I was handing over a $900 monthly allowance, covering medical bills for grandmothers I'd never met, and competing for time against a cousin named Jay who wore jewelry I didn't buy. I had been demoted from partner to utility provider. But instead of exploding, I went silent. I let the money go, but I refused to be the vessel for her green card. I quietly contacted the U.S. Embassy to withdraw my sponsorship, then watched her walk into an interview I knew she would fail. If your partner's love correlates exactly with your bank transfers, you need to hear this story before you get hired for a job you didn't apply for. To understand how a man with 30 years of corporate management experience gets played like a fiddle, you have to understand the headspace I was in. I arrived in Demoted at 62, carrying a bruised ego from a forced early retirement and a divorce that had left me feeling invisible in Chicago. I wasn't looking for a party, I was looking for peace. I wanted the simple life on the beach that every YouTube vlogger promises. That's when I met Marife. She was working the counter at a small bakery inside the Robinson's Place Mall. She was 23, shy, and spoke in a whisper that forced me to lean in just to hear the price of a cinnamon roll. Unlike the women I'd met on dating apps back home who asked about my credit score on the first date, Marife seemed genuinely intimidated by me. Not by my wallet, but by my presence. I remember the 3rd time I took her out for coffee. I tried to buy her a new handbag I saw her eyeing in a window. It wasn't expensive, maybe $40, but she physically recoiled.
No, Sir Paul, that is too much. I cannot accept. My auntie would be angry if I took gifts from a man I am not married to.
That moment right there, that was the hook. I sat back in that plastic chair and thought, she's different. I had read all the horror stories online about guys getting fleeced, but Marife had just refused money. I didn't know it then, but that refusal was the smartest investment she ever made. The next 6 months were a blur of ego-stroking perfection. Marife catered to my every need. If I coughed, she had water. If I looked tired, she offered a massage. For a man who had felt discarded by his own culture, feeling like the most important person on earth was a drug I couldn't quit, I fell in love. Or rather, I fell in love with how she made me feel. I decided I couldn't leave her behind in poverty. I wanted to show her my world. I wanted to be her hero. So, I bought the ring. I proposed on the boulevard at sunset, and she cried. But looking back, the tears stopped the second we mentioned the magic words. K-1 visa. We went to her family's home to celebrate. That's when I met Aunt Belen. Belen was the matriarch, a sharp-eyed woman in her 50s who ran the family finances. When I told them I was filing the petition to bring Marife to the United States, the room didn't explode with joy about our marriage. It exploded with relief. I saw Belen look at Marife and then at the papers I had printed out from the USCIS website. It was a look of pure calculation.
This process, Paul, it is very difficult, very expensive.
I puffed up my chest, eager to provide. I told her not to worry about the costs. I explained the filing fees, the medical exams in St. Luke's, the interviews in Manila. Belen nodded, her face serious.
Marife is a good girl, but she cannot work at the bakery if she is to prepare for this. The embassy requires many documents. She needs to focus on being your wife.
It sounded logical at the time. Why should my future wife scrub floors for $4 a day? So we made the arrangement. Marifa would quit her job immediately. To support her and her family while we waited for the government bureaucracy, I agreed to a monthly allowance. We settled on 50,000 Philippine pesos a month. That's about $900 US. In a province where a college graduate is lucky to make $300 a month, I was giving her a CEO's salary just to sit at home and fill out forms. I handed over that first stack of cash feeling like a benevolent provider. I didn't realize I had just paid the first installment on my own destruction. The shift in our relationship wasn't gradual. It was like a light switch flipping the moment the USCIS receipt notice hit my inbox. That piece of paper, the Form I-797C, confirmed that the United States government had officially received our petition. To me, it was a step toward marriage. To Marif and Aunt Belen, it was proof of concept. The first thing to go was the affection. For 6 months, my phone would buzz at 6 a.m. sharp with a good morning, my love text. Suddenly, I was waking up to silence. The first major red flag came on a Tuesday. I had reserved a nice table at Hiahe Treehouse for dinner, her favorite spot for seafood. An hour before I was supposed to pick her up, my phone buzzed.
Baby, I am too tired. The visa paperwork is giving me a headache. I will stay home tonight.
I was disappointed, but I wanted to be understanding. I told her to rest and drink some water. 10 minutes later, another text came through.
Since we are not eating out, can you send 5,000 pesos via GCash? It is my cousin's birthday, and the family needs to buy lechon.
I stared at the screen. She was too tired to see me, the man trying to marry her, but she had enough energy to party with her family, and she expected me to fund the celebration I wasn't invited to. Like a fool, I sent the money. I told myself she was just stressed. I justified it by thinking, this is just how close Filipino families are. That was the start of the demotion. I realized I was no longer the center of her universe. I was becoming a utility. Aunt Belen stepped in as the gatekeeper. If I wanted to see my fiancée, I suddenly had to go through her.
Paul Marife cannot come to your condo today. She is busy organizing her birth certificate and NBI clearance. It takes all day.
I didn't question why it took 3 weeks to organize 2 pieces of paper. I just accepted that the process was complicated because I wanted to believe. Then came the financial bleed. The 50,000 peso allowance, which was already double a decent local salary, suddenly wasn't enough. By the 15th of the month, Marife would be short. The expenses started getting creative. First, there was the sudden hospitalization of a grandmother I had never met.
My Lola is in the provincial hospital. They need 20,000 pesos for the admission deposit or they will not treat her. Please, Paul, she will die.
That was $400 US. I rushed to Western Union, panicked, feeling like a savior. I never saw a medical report. I never saw a photo of the grandmother. I just saw the sent confirmation. A week later, it was a required seminar for emigrants.
Auntie Belen says I need to attend a seminar in Cebu City. It costs 10,000 pesos for the fee and the hotel.
That's another $200. I later learned the CFO seminar cost 400 pesos, less than $10, and you take it right before you leave the country, not months in advance. But at the time, I didn't Google it, I just paid it. There were endless transport costs for visa interviews that hadn't even been scheduled yet. She claimed she needed money for a plane ticket to Manila for a pre-interview assessment. There is no such thing as a pre-interview assessment. When I finally pushed back, when I asked to see a receipt or a schedule, the reaction was nuclear.
You do not trust me after everything I do for you.
She would dissolve into hysterics. Then Belen would appear, arms crossed, scolding me like I was a delinquent child.
Sir Paul, you are taking this girl to America. You have millions. Why do you make her cry over small pesos? Do you not love her?
That was the weapon. They weaponized my own desire to be a good provider. If I paid, I was a good fiancé. If I asked questions, I was a stingy, controlling old man. So I stopped asking questions. I just kept signing the checks, trying to buy back the affection that used to be free. In my gut, I knew the truth was ugly. I had been demoted from future husband to accounts payable, and the invoice was due every single day. Then came the digital slip-up. Up until that point, Marif had been careful with her social media settings, but even the best actresses get sloppy eventually. I was scrolling through Facebook on a lonely Tuesday night when a photo popped up in my feed. It wasn't posted by Marifi. It was posted by a young man named Jay, and he had tagged her. The caption read, "Beach vibes with my favorite cousin." I clicked on the photo and zoomed in. Jay was young, fit, probably in his late 20s. He had his arm draped casually over Marife's shoulders, a little too comfortable for a distant relative. But it wasn't the body language that made my stomach drop. It was the jewelry. In the photo, Marif was wearing a thick gold necklace with a distinctive heart pendant. I knew every single item I had bought her. I kept receipts. I knew the inventory of her life because I had paid for all of it. I had never seen that necklace before. The timing was the smoking gun. Marif had told me she was currently in Manila at the St. Luke's Extension Clinic undergoing the grueling 2-day medical exam required for the visa. She had asked for 15,000 pesos for the flight and hotel. But the background of the photo wasn't the concrete jungle of Manila. I recognized the distinctive thatched roof of a resort in Dawan, just 30 minutes south of where I was sitting. She wasn't in Manila. She was 20 miles away, wearing gold I didn't buy, with a cousin I had never heard of. When I called her, she didn't answer. When I finally got a text back hours later, she claimed the signal in the clinic was bad. That night, I drove to her family's compound. I showed her the photo on my phone. I didn't yell. I just asked, "Who is Jay, and where did you get that necklace?" The reaction wasn't guilt. It was rage.
You are stalking me now? You are checking my Facebook like a crazy person?
She turned the tables instantly. She told me Jay was a second cousin she grew up with, and the necklace was a loan from Aunt Belen for good luck during the medical exam.
You are a jealous, controlling old man. You do not trust me because you think you can buy people. If you do not trust me, cancel the visa.
She screamed until I was the one apologizing. It was a masterclass in gaslighting. I was so terrified of losing the investment, the time, the money, the dream of a wife, that I swallowed the lie. I convinced myself I was being paranoid. I paid for another apology dinner to smooth things over. 2 weeks later, the universe decided I had been stupid long enough. It was a Tuesday afternoon. My phone rang, displaying Marife's name. I swiped to answer, expecting a request for money. "Hello?" I said. No one answered, but the line was open. It was a pocket dial. I was about to hang up when I heard voices, clear as day. the distinct, sharp cackle of Aunt Belen, followed by Marife's laugh. They weren't speaking Visayan. They were speaking a mix of English and Tagalog, perhaps for the benefit of others in the room. I sat on the edge of my sofa, phone pressed to my ear, my hand trembling.
Did the Cano send the money for the seminar yet?
Yes, Auntie. He sent it this morning. He is so easy.
My blood ran cold. Kano is slang for American. It's not necessarily derogatory, but the way she said it dripped with venom.
You just need to hold on a little longer. Be nice to him.
I know. Just 2 more months until the interview. Once I get the visa stamped, we are good.
I held my breath. I needed to hear the rest.
We fly to Chicago, I get the green card, and then we can ghost him. I already looked up jobs in Illinois.
And Jay?
Jay will follow once I have papers. We just need Paul to pay for the crossing.
Then she said the words that will haunt me for the rest of my life.
Don't worry, Auntie. The ATM is working perfectly. He thinks he is finding a wife, but he is just paying for my ticket out of here.
They both erupted in laughter. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the phone. I sat there in total silence as the call disconnected. The illusion didn't just crack, it vaporized. There was no Marif, the sweet shop girl. There was only Marif, the actress. I wasn't a partner. I wasn't a future husband. I wasn't even a human being to them. I was a transport vessel. I was a logistical solution to a geographical problem. I looked around my condo, the photos of us on the wall, the gifts I had wrapped for her upcoming birthday. It all looked like evidence in a crime scene now. They thought they were playing a stupid old man. They forgot that before I retired, I managed supply chains for a Fortune 500 company. I knew how to handle a breach of contract. I put the phone down. I didn't call her back. I poured myself a drink and stared at the wall. The sadness was gone, replaced by a cold, hard resolve. The ATM was officially out of order. Most men in my position would have driven back to Aunt Belen's compound with a baseball bat. Or, at the very least, I would have called Marif back immediately, screaming profanities, demanding my money back and threatening to call the police. But 30 years in corporate logistics taught me something important. When you discover a breach of contract, you don't make noise. You secure your assets, you document the failure, and you terminate the agreement with extreme prejudice. Screaming would have given them a chance to spin another story. Marif would have cried. Aunt Belen would have claimed I misunderstood the context. They would have gaslit me one last time. I didn't want an argument. I wanted an ending. I finished my drink. Then I opened my laptop. I didn't go to Facebook. I went to the Department of State website. I found the specific email address for the immigrant visa unit at the U.S. Embassy in Manila. I spent the next hour drafting the most important letter of my life. It wasn't a love letter. It was a formal withdrawal of support. I typed out the subject line, "Urgent, withdrawal of I-129F petition." I referenced the case number. I referenced her full name and date of birth. I referenced my own details. The body of the email was cold and clinical. I wrote, "I, Paul, last name, the petitioner, formally withdraw my sponsorship of the K-1 Fiancée visa application for Marif, last name. I do so on the grounds that the relationship is no longer bona fide. I have come into possession of credible information indicating that the beneficiary intends to abandon the petitioner upon entry to the United States and is engaged in relationship fraud." I attached a screenshot of the call log showing the accidental connection duration. I even typed out a transcript of what I heard, specifically the ghost him in Chicago line. I hit send. Then, I forwarded the same email to the USCIS Service Center that originally approved the petition, just to be absolutely thorough. A confirmation email bounced back instantly. Message received. It was done. The bridge was burned. But Marifa didn't know that yet. For the next week, I had to put on the performance of a lifetime. This was the silent retaliation. If I told her now, she wouldn't go to Manila. She would stay here in Dumaguete, likely mobilize her cousin, Jay, and maybe even harass me at my condo. I wanted her out of my space. I wanted her 400 miles away when the hammer dropped. Marif texted me the next morning as if nothing had happened.
Good morning, my love. I miss you. Can we meet for lunch? I need to buy shoes for the interview. I want to look professional for the consul.
Looking at that text, knowing she called me the ATM less than 24 hours prior, made my stomach turn. But I replied, "Sure, honey, let's get you ready." We met at a restaurant on the boulevard. She kissed me on the cheek. I felt my skin crawl, but I forced a smile. I watched her eat, listening to her chatter about how nervous she was for the interview.
Auntie Belen says I should wear a blazer to look like an American wife.
"That's a good idea," I said. "We want you to look the part."
But blazers are expensive, and the flight is next week, and the hotel.
She trailed off, giving me the puppy dog eyes that used to melt my wallet open. This was the test. I had to pay one last time to spring the trap. If I cut the money now, she'd know something was wrong. "How much do you need for the whole trip?" I asked. "Flight, hotel for 3 nights, the medical exam completion, and the outfit."
Maybe 30,000 pesos to be safe?
That was about $600, another massive chunk of my pension. I looked at her. I saw the deception behind her eyes. I saw Jay waiting in the wings. I saw Aunt Belen counting my money. "Okay," I said, "I'll withdraw it today. I want you to have everything you need for the big day." The relief on her face was instantaneous. She wasn't relieved because she loved me. She was relieved because the ATM was still dispensing cash. I handed over the cash that afternoon, $600 to ensure she walked into a humiliating rejection. It was the price of closure. The day she left for Manila, she stopped by my condo with her suitcase.
I am so excited, Paul. Next time I see you, I will have the visa.
She hugged me. I stood stiff as a board, my hands in my pockets. "Good luck, Marife," I said. "I'm sure you'll get exactly what you deserve."
Thank you, honey. I love you.
She hopped into a pedicab, waving frantically as she headed for the airport. I went back inside, locked the door, and waited. The interview was scheduled for a Thursday morning. I knew the timeline. She would go to the embassy on Roxas Boulevard, stand in line for hours in the heat, go through security, and finally wait for her number to be called. Thursday came. I woke up early, made coffee, and sat by my phone. I visualized the scene. The consular officer behind the thick glass window, the file on their desk, the red flag on the computer screen indicating the petitioner had withdrawn support. The officer wouldn't even ask her relationship questions. They would just look at the screen, look at her, and hand her a slip of paper. At 10:30 a.m., my phone rang. It was a video call. Marifa. I accepted the call. Her face filled the screen. She wasn't in the embassy anymore. She was on the sidewalk outside, the chaotic Manila traffic roaring behind her. Her mascara was running down her cheeks. Her eyes were red and swollen. She was hysterical.
Paul, there is a mistake.
I took a sip of my coffee. "Calm down, Marif. What happened?"
They denied me. They didn't even ask me questions. The man said the petition is canceled. He said you canceled it.
She was screaming so loud the microphone was distorting.
You must call them. Tell them it is a mistake. Auntie Belen is freaking out. We spent the money.
I looked at her, really looked at her one last time. The panic was real. The realization that the golden ticket had just evaporated was shattering her world. It's not a mistake, Marife, I said softly. She stopped screaming. She froze. The traffic noise seemed to fade away.
What?
I canceled it, I said. I sent the email last week.
But why? We're getting married. I love you.
Drop the act, I said. My voice was steady, devoid of the anger I thought I would feel. I heard the phone call, Marife, the pocket dial. Her face went pale. She knew exactly what I was talking about.
Paul, I can explain.
You can explain it to Jay, I said. And you can explain to Aunt Belen that the ATM is permanently out of service.
Paul, please, we can fix this. I was just joking with Auntie. It was just a joke.
Ghosting me in Chicago isn't a joke, I said. Using me as a transport vessel isn't a joke. Then I delivered the line I had rehearsed in my head for 7 days. The line that restored my dignity. Marife, I didn't lose a fiancé today. I just fired an employee who was stealing from the company.
You are a devil. You are a horrible old man. You wasted my time.
And you wasted my money, I replied. Consider the last 6 months your severance pay. Don't come back to the condo. The locks are changed. I ended the call. Then I blocked her number. I blocked Aunt Belen. I blocked the cousin, Jay. I sat in the silence of my apartment. I waited for the grief to hit me, but it didn't. Instead, I felt lighter. The anxiety that had been gnawing at my gut for months, the subtle feeling that something was wrong, was gone. I opened my spreadsheet and looked at the final tally. The allowances, the medical exams, the filing fees, the emergency hospital bills, the jewelry, the final trip to Manila, $12,450. That was the cost of my education. That $12,000 was gone forever. I could have traveled Europe for months with that money. I could have bought a new car. Instead, I bought a fantasy that lasted exactly 6 months. But here is the truth. And this is the part you need to hear if you are thinking about packing your bags and moving here to find love. I paid for the illusion of being important. I paid to feel like a savior. I ignored every single red flag because I wanted the fairy tale to be true. I ignored the fact that she never offered to pay for a single coffee. I ignored the family emergencies that always happened right after payday. I ignored the isolation from my own friends because Aunt Belen monopolized her time. I ignored the lack of intimacy that started the moment the paperwork was filed. Gentlemen, look at your relationship honestly. Take the emotion out of it for 5 minutes and look at the data. Does her affection correlate exactly with your transaction history? Does she love you, or does she love the lifestyle you provide? If you stopped paying today, if the ATM broke down, would she still be standing there tomorrow? In my case, the answer was clear. I wasn't a husband, I was a hiring decision. And when the employee became a liability, I did the only thing a rational man could do. I cut my losses. Don't make the same mistake I did. Don't let your loneliness write checks that your dignity can't cash. Because out here, if it feels too good to be true, it's usually costing you by the hour. This is Paul, signing off from Demoted. Stay safe, stay smart, and keep your wallet closed until your eyes are wide open. The characters, incidents, and dialogue in this video are dramatized for narrative and entertainment effect. While some events may be inspired by real-life themes, this story is a work of fiction.